everybody.
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
Well, let's start the insanity.
It is the Weekly Yak. It's back along with Mel.
Hello.
And Randy.
Hey, girl, hey.
Is that directed at me? Am I the girl?
Sure.
All right.
You be whatever you want to be, Mac.
I will be whatever I want to be.
Guess who's back? Back again.
Mac is back.
We are back. Yeah,
Tell
we did.
a friend.
Yeah.
Hey, Randy.
Yeah.
Mac is back.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. We took a week off, and it's my fault that it happened. Yeah, you were saying you had a shit week this week. Last week was the worst week for me in many weeks. First of all, that fool right there, that brown and black fool.
Whoa.
He's referring to the big fuzzy thing in my lap.
Yeah. Well, the other
fuzzy
big fuzzy.
thing.
Hey-o. Yeah. The smaller one, the smaller ball of fur. No, so last week, right when I take Bingo out, like about 15 minutes before I leave for school, his face is all puffed up. I was like, what the hell is this?
He knows we're talking about him. He's
Yeah.
like, what?
His ears are burning. Is that when somebody's talking about you?
Yeah.
What is it when your palm itches? You're going to get money?
Yeah, it depends on which hand it is.
Or you masturbate too much?
Well, it could
No,
be
that's where
both.
hair on your palms.
Yes.
That's when you grow hair on your
There
palms.
you go.
Yeah. Mine are completely hairy. There's more hair here than anywhere else.
Hey.
I need to put it up here.
That's why ladies love Mac.
Yeah, that's right. No, but he woke up and it looked like he had I thought he had like food stuck in his jowls, because it was just his face. It was just his snout part, and I was like, buddy, what's the matter? But it wasn't as scary because he was still running around. But I was like, I didn't know what happened. I don't know if he ate anything. I don't know if he stuck his face in something the night before, but I didn't want to just leave because I didn't know if it was going to keep swelling or whatever. So I have to put in for like a half day at school, and I put family illness because he's family.
There you go.
He's your child.
That's what I put. Yeah. And so I had to take him. I didn't know where to go. I've never had to take a dog anywhere, like unless it's just a regular checkup. And I knew that I didn't know what kind of clinic. I thought they were all the same. So I took him to the ABC clinic because I knew they did other stuff too. They don't just do birth control or animal birth control. That's what ABC, animal birth control. But they're like, no, we don't do. He's having an allergic reaction. I'm like, well, yeah, I know. And they're like, well, we don't do that here. I'm like, you don't do that here. I'm not asking for. He didn't need a facelift. I mean, he's just So we go to the one. What is it on the circle? The Animal Hospital. Yeah. I don't know if that's the name. I think that's just the name of it. Mm-hmm. And so I go in and I was like, I just like shove him. I'm like, look at him. There's something wrong with him. And they're like, yeah, we know.
Yeah.
And I was like, so what's the deal? Like, do you think he's going to be okay? Does he need to be seen now? So the I don't know, the tech or the dog nurse took him back, and of course they're like, yeah, he needs to be seen immediately because it's like a $90 ER fee.
Uh-huh.
But then we sat there for an hour. I'm like, it couldn't have been that bad. It's pertinent that he gets seen, but you're gonna make us wait an hour. Whatever.
Uh-huh.
So, they gave him a steroid shot, and they did keep him for me for the day for free. They didn't charge me because they're like, if you want to leave him here when you go, so you can go to work, that way you don't have to leave him home, and we can monitor him, make sure he doesn't swell up anymore. So they did do that for free. Yeah, I'm talking about you. So it ended up being like $150 because they gave him a steroid shot, and then they gave me some doggy Benadryl for him, which I didn't know they could just give him human Benadryl.
Yep.
Because I didn't want to try it. I didn't want to chance it, so I just didn't. But I mean, I wish I had a better picture. I mean, I should have taken one head on. I mean, he looked like he had nuts under there, like he was storing nuts for the winter.
Aww.
Or like he got his wisdom teeth out.
Yeah. And they couldn't. And I was like, well, so what was it? They're like, we don't know. We couldn't find a bite or a sting, or I mean. I don't feed him anything weird. Like sometimes I, give him.
Did
like
you eat a bumblebee?
He just ate it.
Is that what happened? Did you eat a bee?
So then I was set back $150 on that. Then I know we've talked about the weather a few times because it's like we're getting old and that's all we can talk about. But last week, last week, a week ago, it was really bad. We've had a lot of bad storms. Not as bad as they could be, but I mean, it's been pretty, like, as far as downpours. But last week there was some lightning, some crazy lightning. I mean, I remember even earlier this week, it was, it was last week when I was leaving school. It felt like it was 9:00 at night.
Oh, yeah.
Where you got, when it rolled in, and I mean, it was dark. So I didn't have an umbrella, of course. And then so it starts pouring down. I'm like, I'm going to just go. And so right before I pull in to the parking lot, I mean, I've lived in Texas my whole life, and I've heard, I've lived through tornado warnings and thunder and lightning. I was pulling in, and this clap of thunder scared the shit out of me. Like, I jumped in my seat in my car. Like, and it flashed a bunch of times. It was, I don't know if it was kind of like the streak lightning that goes across the sky and stuff like that. It scared the crap out of me. Like, it was so loud. And then so I come in, and everything's off. And I was like, well, I guess the power's out or whatever. Only the power was not out. It had fried all my electronics. Not these electronics. I thought that at the time. It just tripped this breaker on this side of the
Your surge protector?
Yeah. But apparently the other ones were not. I was under the impression that I bought surge protectors, but they were not surge protectors. So in my room and then in here or in the living room, 2 TVs burn out, Xbox, even my freaking Fire Sticks got fried.
Oh no!
My sound bar, Blu-ray player, modem, and cable box. But I mean, those just replaced those. I should have known. Like when I came in, it wasn't even like when you restart a cable box, it'll say boot, and like it'll count down to where until it gets ready to go. Mm-hmm. It was just the whole readout was just lit up. I've never seen that before. Like everything was just lit up on it. It was not lit. It was the bad kind of lit up, and I was like, "Fuck!" And then I looked at when I was because I wanted to get a game out of the Xbox. It wouldn't turn, and I waited too. I wanted to make sure I reset all the breakers. I plugged in different things, nothing. And when I was trying to get the game out of the Xbox, I pull the plug out, and it just black, just burnt, just came out. I was like, "Son of a bitch!" So the first thing I did, after I realized everything was gone, I went and bought the 2 best surge protectors I could find.
Yeah.
Good. And
I have a new TV. You noticed that because my brother, assistant manager at one of the Walmarts, he was able to get me one really cheap. It's actually a Roku TV. I don't know if you. Sometimes people talk
That's what
bad.
I have.
Well, sometimes people talk bad about it, but it's actually a lot better because I was like, I got to buy a new Amazon Fire Stick, and because when you get a smart TV, it doesn't have all the shit on it. It's got Netflix and like some like FM TV or what. It's got weird stuff. You can't get all the. So I was like, let's just. I mean, it's a 50-inch, and he got it for me for $280.
Hey.
That's a 4K Roku TV, and so far it's great.
I love my Roku.
Yeah. Well, they always. I remember when it first came out, people were kind of like, because it wasn't made by a quote good brand. It's not like Samsung Roku TV or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, mine's been fine. That's a TCL. I didn't even know that brand, but I don't really care. I mean,
that's what I got.
I can watch. I can watch shit.
There you go.
Yeah.
But this week has been better. We had star testing, so that's really not working. You just watch. You just watch them.
Yeah.
Well,
you don't
have to. Yeah, you don't have to say sorry. Like the first 2 days, it was just reviewing for the social studies test, and then today or yesterday, I had to give it, but it's been pretty good. I mean, it went by really fast. So, and these are 4 hour. This is really like teacher specific, but in May they're 4 hour tests instead of the 5 hour ones.
Oh yeah.
Back in April. So
are they timed?
Yeah.
They don't just have like all day to work on them?
No. I mean, unless you have an accommodation or something and you have extra time. Oh. But the English tests, these are STAR end of the year course exams in Texas. If STAR tests, because there's writing and reading, it's 5 hours. They get 5 hours. And the bio, algebra, and U.S. history get 4 hours.
Oh.
I don't know why.
Had no idea.
Yeah. Bio and algebra, I can understand 4 hours because there's math on both and you can use a calculator. But U.S. history, I don't know. It shouldn't be 4 hours. There's no writing. There's no math. There's no.
Just multiple choice.
It's just multiple choice.
I mean, because when I was still in
history.
school, we were doing the tax tests, but we could spend all day on them if we needed to.
Maybe you were retarded. And they gave
that's got to
day.
say a lot to my school because I was.
PC.
I know.
I mean, that's got to say a lot
it.
about the school that I came from because I was way up there in the rankings.
You're brilliant.
I know.
Okay. Can't you just be humble for a second?
I'm the most humble.
No, you even trying to be humble,
the best
you're not
of being
humble.
Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way.
When you're the perfect specimen of manhood, it's really hard.
Wait, what is that from? That's a song? Yeah, okay.
Lord, it's hard to be humble.
That's like an old classic one.
In every way.
I don't know that song.
Sorry, my energy's really low. I'm really happy that this week was better.
Good.
I don't know. Maybe I think I'm just tired. Sometimes you get tired from not doing a lot. Watching kids take tests for 4 hours is
it's
exhausting.
boring.
Yeah. It's almost less exhausting to actually teach, which I rarely do if I can avoid it. So,
can we have a free day?
I know. That's what they always say. They're like, "Are we doing anything today?" I'm like,
"Yo, Mr. Mac."
I'm like, guys, unless you hear otherwise, we are always doing something.
Exactly.
And I think that was a get over it I had.
Yeah, that's why I said it.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were just that good. Well, you are.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I am.
It's better if you just let us say it. You're not so unlikable.
You're not so unlikable.
Yeah, just a
maybe a
tad.
little bit.
I'm the most unlikable.
Just a scope. I know. Right? You just can't take it, even the bad stuff.
I made a
Can
joke.
do nothing in moderation.
So
Right.
I hung out with Randy and his significant other the other day, and I bought some wine and brought it to their house. And I don't even know if this one it was good, but I'd never have it before. I just bought it because of the name, and it was Sweet Bitch was the name of the wine. And so I showed up at their apartment and was like, "Hey, I bought some wine with your name on it." And they were like, "Oh," and I used that joke each time that they looked. And Randy was like, "Oh yeah, that's my name." And Grant and I were like, "No, Grant's more of a sweet bitch. You're just a bitch." Randy, I thought he was gonna yank my spine out.
like, rude.
Truth hurts sometimes.
You mean cunt?
Oh, Lord.
Whoa, shots fired.
Hey. So, Mel, I think you have some really cool things to share.
I have, but I'm going to start, there's good news and bad news. I'm going to start with the bad news to get it over with because, Mac, you've not seen my beautiful new fashion accessory.
A boot?
Boom.
A boot? I'm Canadian.
A boot. Oh.
Yeah.
So it'll be tomorrow will be 2 weeks since I broke my pinky toe and fractured a couple of the bones in my foot. I really wish I could say it was some cool way. Like I saw a robber and I roundhouse kicked him to the face, but I didn't. I had a surround sound speaker fall out of a closet and onto my foot from about 4 or 5 feet in the air. And so that felt awesome. But
yeah, that's not cool.
It was great. It was great. It was one of those pains that like I didn't cry at first. That's how bad it hurt.
Right.
I screamed bloody murder, and then I had a hard time breathing and thought I was going to throw up, and then got dizzy, and then finally my body was like cry.
Yeah.
But that was like the last response.
When it's really painful, like when I've burned myself really bad, it doesn't hurt right away.
Yeah.
Like if you touch something, like I've grabbed a pan too close to the, where the metal part on the not on the plastic part. And it's like, at first it's like, it's not anything. And then,
it's
then
delayed.
You're like, ah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah,
when it's an extreme sensation, it's usually delayed a bit.
It was rough because it happened the weekend before all the walking that I had to do, which was awesome. But
you don't realize how much the pinky toe is a factor.
Yeah,
I guess.
And this lovely little shoe boot thing I have to wear.
Shoe boot.
It's
like
got
showboat.
It's got a little platform on it to protect my foot.
It's a platform.
Yeah,
shoe
platform
boot.
shoe. But it's on my right foot, and get ready for the jokes. My right hip is naturally cocked up a little more.
that a word? I mean, is that the right use of that word?
Yeah, it's slanted.
Cocked up.
It's cocked up. It's slanted up. And so...
There you go.
Oh, gosh.
Wow.
And now with this...
Was that the joke? Or is that the wrong part? Okay,
no,
sorry.
Oh, no, it's like cock up.
No, say it again. Say your right hip. What's what?
My right hip is cocked up.
All right.
Anyways, so now this platform, which is on the right side too, like I feel like I'm just like leaning over, like I'm like the old like Igor character from all the movies where I'm like, master, like, dragging. I'm not that bad, but I feel like I'm.
The even worse part is that to balance out, you have to wear a chancla on the other foot.
I love my chacos.
Not a chancla, chaco. What's your
chacos are my shoes?
Is it a chocolate
choice.
shoe?
No,
They're made of
they're
chocolate?
the brand chacos. They're like these little strappy
Yes.
sandals.
Homeless people sandals.
yes?
They're not homeless people sandals. If they
Or
were, they
hippie
shouldn't be
sandals.
like $100.
That's true. Well, people will pay good money to look like they're poor.
Well, that is true. But outside of that, let's throw that shit aside. I've had a couple of really fucking awesome things to happen. First off,
That's all the bad news. You're done.
that's all. I'm
Okay.
done with that.
Good.
So a couple weeks ago, I had to go to Austin to do some work stuff. And that night, my husband and I were like, oh, let's just hang out in Austin. We're here. Let's do something fun. What shall we do? Well, it was Moon Tower Comedy Festival. And you had to have a pass for a lot of things, but there were a few separate ticketing events. And they were doing a live podcast taping of the podcast Dumb People Town, which I love. It's the Sklar brothers and Daniel Van Kirk.
I saw your social media pictures with the Sklar brothers.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
I used to watch them on the cheap seats.
Oh, I love
like
cheap
an MST
seats.
3K
Yes.
kind of deal with sports.
Sports.
Yep.
So great. The spelling bee one is just the best. You never thought the spelling bee could be so funny. Anyway, so they do this part of their podcast where they allow, especially a live taping, they allow people from the audience to share a story with them. Because the premise of the podcast, for those of you who haven't heard, is they find stories in the news about basically dumb things, dumb crimes, whatever, and then they talk about them and read them, and they're comedians, so they make jokes about them. So I got to share a story, and this live podcast, since it was Moon Tower Comedy Festival, they had an all-star panel. So it was the Sklar brothers and Daniel Van Kirk and Eliza Skinner and John Glazer and Steve Agee. And so no pressure.
Hang on while everyone looks those names up.
Oh,
All right.
most
Go.
importantly, John Glazer, but he was from Delocated, but a lot of you Parks and Rec fans know him as Jeremy Jam.
Oh,
You got jammed. You got jammed.
He used to be a writer on Conan too a long time ago.
Steve Agee, you may know him best as the homeless guy on New Girl that lives outside the building.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we just don't know the names.
Yeah. So great people. Anyway,
One of my favorite. Can I say one thing about on Parks and Rec? I love when Leslie comes in and he's like, "I just farted." He just says that when she walks. She's such a douchebag.
he is such a douchebag.
But he plays such a good. He's so good at playing a douchebag.
He was really funny. Well, anyway, I got to share a story with them. And long story short, because you have to kind of listen to the podcast to understand, I got to do some comedy for them during it. And I made all of those world famous comedians laugh.
All right.
Which was like huge for me because I do enjoy doing comedy, and I've dabbled with stand up. I've only done it once and it went fairly well, but I've done it in public, I guess I should say, for a crowd, paying crowd. But I've done it a few times, and
you should say the time that you did stand up, you wrote the material backstage 5 minutes before going on. And I know this because I was there, and it still went very, very well.
I got like 60-40 laughs, so I feel good. I didn't totally bomb, and I was really excited about it. Well, anyway.
Is that why you shit on my jokes?
No.
We have plenty of other reasons. Don't blame
Yeah.
on this
All right.
one.
So anyway, at the end of the show, they had a meet and greet. So I was meeting them. And while I was in line, before I could even get up there to talk to them, Randy Sklar came up to me and shook my hand and said, "Oh my God, you fucking killed up there. You are hilarious." And I'm like, Oh my God. Like I've been listening to them for over 20 years. So like when a comedian you really admire and like, it's like, you're really fucking funny. You're like, whoa.
Is there any proof? Is there proof of this?
Well, yes, the podcast. It's not up yet.
All right.
But you
of course
can,
it's not. How convenient that it's not up yet.
It'll be up soon. But anyway, I got to talk to them afterwards. They gave me comedy advice. They like strongly encouraged me to do more comedy because they think I'm really funny. And that was such an honor to have that happen. So I have talked to a friend who is a stand-up comedian. And he is going to kind of mentor me, and he strongly encouraged me because he's like, I thought you were funny for a long time. So he's working with me to kind of make that going. So who knows? You may see Mel doing some stand-up some more soon, which is crazy. And if that couldn't get any better, guys, I did it finally. I met Wonder Woman. I did that on Sunday.
I saw that. Linda Carter, the original, the OG.
The OG. I talked about it. That was going to happen months ago. And it happened. And Grant, Randy's husband, went with me. We didn't cry. I'm so proud of us.
For those of you that don't know, Grant is probably just as much of a Wonder Woman and Linda Carter fan as Mel is.
We got to sit on the front row and we watched her show, which was great. She's super talented and it was great to hear the stories. And then,
and she hasn't aged like a day. Like I saw the picture that you took with her. I'm like, man, is it the 70s still?
I know. Jeez. She's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then she did a Q&A and she was talking all about, a variety of things were just like really dear to my heart. And I just felt that. And then I didn't make a stupid face when I got my photo op with her, and I'm pretty pleased with my photo. So that was good. And we do, because it was so quick and it was the end of the day. They kind of rushed us through. I kept telling people they rushed us through like smiling cattle. It was like, come in, take a picture, go. So we didn't really get to talk to her like I would have liked to. But she made the mistake, I guess I'll say, of she's coming back to Dallas at the end of September. And so Grant and I looked at each other and we're like, we're going. So
and she immediately regretted it at that moment.
I'm excited, though, too, because from my Girl Scout background, she's a lifelong member of Girl Scouts. And she talks a lot about equal rights for women, equal pay for women, and women's empowerment. And not just because she's Wonder Woman, just because she's a badass,
wonderful woman.
Yeah. Well, she said, I'm at an age like this. She's like, I'm not trying to get any more famous. And she's like, unless I do something horrible, I don't think I'm going to lose my fame to that degree. So she's like, why not use my fame for something good? And I'm going to stand up for things I believe in. And it just warms my little heart. And the Grinch's heart grew 3 sizes that day.
There
so
you go.
I've had, despite breaking of limbs, it's been pretty positive, and I'm really excited that these wonderful things have happened. So that's my story. Randy, tell me more.
I wish that I think I should. You care about lots of stuff. I don't care about anything.
I'm sorry, you don't have a heart, I guess. I have all the hearts. I mean,
What
why does your
privilege.
dog why does your dog immediately come to me every week? Bingo's like, oh my God.
Well, not to burst your bubble, but he does that with everybody. He's kind of a whore.
Well, he is.
We have that in common.
He's asleep in my lap right now. We're at this level now.
So I was really, really interested, I was really thankful. I got offered the opportunity to do film for the first time recently.
Yeah.
What kind of film?
Wearing more clothes than I expected to be.
Right, yeah.
So that's something. No,
I'm proud of you.
Through my musical theater connections, if you can call them that, here in town, I was approached by a Baylor student to be in one of his student films.
All right.
And I was doing that last weekend, and it should be coming out really, really soon. As soon as I know when it's out, and as soon as it's sent to me, I'll send it to everybody, and hopefully it'll get posted somewhere on our Instagram where other people that listen to this might want to go see. But it was like, I had never been on any sort of set like that, and I never realized, like, I assumed always that a lot. Yeah, you hang up on Spencer right now.
Hi, Spencer. You're calling during the podcast.
Big mistake.
Please
Did
continue.
Oh, okay. I thought you had answered it.
He listens to this,
Oh.
so I was making sure he
Fuck
knew.
you, Spencer.
Oh,
Who
hey.
is Spencer?
Love you,
Who is
boo.
Spencer?
Spencer is one of my oldest besties in the world. He's in Oklahoma City.
Oh, okay.
And he
Did
calls,
Oh, no.
he calls me his understudy because he was Melissa's OG gay.
Ah, gotcha.
So fuck him.
Ugh.
No,
Dude.
we're become friends.
Did you
But
film at the school? Did they had the set was at the school?
It was at this dude's house. The scene was like in someone's house, and literally the scene that I'm in is
Sounds like all the other scenes
maybe
you've been in.
Yeah.
Hey!
Well, it was in the kitchen, which is
Oh,
usually only if it's like a themed video. Then I
Oh,
can
Yeah,
so
right.
that's when you're like throwing flour and you're like,
oh no.
I spilled it.
Like the scene in Zoolander where they're throwing gasoline at each other.
Exactly.
That's what happens.
But I didn't realize, like, I always assumed a lot goes into filming and that, I know how many takes they have to do, but the lighting, the sound, how many people were there when it was only supposed to look like it was me and this other girl that I was acting with, and that the maybe minute and a half scene that we filmed, it took probably an hour and a half to film it.
Right.
And it was such a cool experience. I'm really nervous to see it just because like most people, I'm going to be my own worst critic. I'm totally humble when anybody else is.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm definitely my own worst critic in anything artistic. So if I watch myself acting, I probably will never want to do it again. But
So like, I'm atrocious. I can't believe anybody
exactly,
because
because I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, oh my, I bet I'm gonna watch it and be like, oh gosh, why did they use that take and not the other one, or this or that, or like, oh my gosh, why did I reach for that instead of the other thing on the other side of the camera? I'm really excited, also very, very nervous.
I don't think I just told your husband this. I don't think I've told you, so you definitely don't know, Mac, that I was in a made-for-TV movie when I was in middle school. I did some acting.
You did tell me this.
And I'm only in like the first 5 minutes, so I think we should just watch the first 5 minutes of it sometime. It was called The True Story of Bonnie and Clyde.
Ooh.
This
And I
wasn't the movie you lost out to Reese Witherspoon, is it?
No.
You weren't in that one at
That
all,
was,
right?
That was Man in the Moon.
Fucker.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, speaking of Bonnie and Clyde, have you guys seen The Highwaymen? Is that a good movie? It's on
No,
Netflix.
I wanted
People
to.
said it's good.
It looks good. I like the whole Bonnie and Clyde story. I got to see, besides the fact that I was in the movie, but
Oh,
we
geez,
got to
sorry.
see, we got to see the car that they were shot
Oh,
in
yeah.
with all the holes. And that was pretty, like, I've kind of geeked out over that because I was like,
There's a
their dead bodies were there.
There's a museum, right? The Bonnie
Yeah.
and Clyde Museum? That's
Well,
in somewhere?
Yeah,
I'm sure it's
well,
somewhere.
this was like the National, I don't know what it's called, but I'm going to call it the National Museum of Murder in D.C. And there's like Ted Bundy's.
There's a movie with Zac Efron and Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
That one looks really friggin'
Yeah,
good.
Ted Bundy's Volkswagen that he used to pick up all the chicks in and murder. That's the first thing you see. And my mom walked in and saw it because mom is like really crazy about that stuff. Mom goes, "Oh my God, take my picture with the Volkswagen."
You know, he almost killed Debbie Harry.
I
I
mean,
love that story.
he's,
I
yeah.
love that he almost killed her.
I mean, I love that, like, Debbie
I know.
Harry got away from, like, that's the perfect, like, story for me to obsess over.
Yeah.
It's like,
Did you
it's
watch the-
Blondie, and I love true crime.
The tapes,
I haven't, or
the Ted Bundy tapes,
Oh, not
the
yet.
thing on Netflix.
no, not yet.
That's
Because
also
I
on
need
Netflix.
to have an entire day to just sit and watch all of them.
Yeah.
I don't know what this obsession. I mean, this was a long time. People are acting like this is a brand new thing. Like,
Yeah, I mean, there's been a whole thing. I mean, there's all of those people.
well, their girls were in love with him.
Yeah,
I mean, he was.
Yeah, same with the Son of Sam.
Yeah.
He was like the Italian stallion kind of guy.
Nobody was in love with John Wayne Gacy though.
No, because he's creepy as fuck.
Well, he
No
was a
one wants to-
clown.
Yeah,
he was a
it
clown.
so creepy. Ugh.
But burying the stuff in the and under his own house, like I don't know how you can. I mean, Ted Bundy did like have sex with the corpses, but at least they were out in the woods. At least he wasn't an animal. No, he was an animal.
My mom is really obsessed. Well, like a lot of people, I think, with true crime stuff, but especially like she's really into serial killers because she's into criminal minds stuff because that's what she studied. That's her degree. And especially, and I don't know, you grew up here, so you know, Mac, the Lake Waco murders story.
Yeah.
It's in the book about it. Like
I don't know this, and I'm obsessed already. What
It's
is it
so
about?
great.
I love it already.
It's so great. There's another part of the story that I can't tell you on the podcast about someone we know that is connected
Oh,
to
shit.
the Lake Waco murders.
You mean it got away with it?
Mouth the name to me.
But anyway,
Really?
yeah. So anyway,
Wait, the psycho one that we don't like?
yeah.
Bum, bum,
yeah.
Oh my god.
So anyway, Lake Waco murders.
I hope he doesn't
great
listen to this.
story. And the thing about that too that's really crazy is the book is called Careless Whispers, and it was written by
Never mind.
no. It was written by Thomas Harris. Yes, that Thomas Harris. Yes, Silence of the Lambs, Thomas Harris.
Oh.
Because, fun fact, he used to be a writer for the Waco Tribune Herald.
Good Lord.
And so
For
he
real?
covered that beat, and he wrote this whole story about, he covered the beat and the story, and it's really crazy. But yeah, basically this guy was obsessed with this girl, and she didn't like him, and he just straight up murdered her and her guy she was seeing and her roommate. And he kept on a loop playing Careless Whisper, because never gonna dance again. Guilt your feet have got no. Yeah.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah, it's creepy. So the book is called Careless Whisper. Check it out, guys.
You can make the you know, if they use a song in the right way, they can ruin it.
Yeah.
I mean, of course that ruined it, but I mean that's a real thing. But like, you know, I'll forget it. That's gonna get too nerdy. I'm just saying, like, sometimes I've seen things where it's like you know, how much is that doggy in the window or something, and they played it the creepiest, and it just ruined. And then the song always is scary.
Yeah. You know, they should get on that. That's what we need to do is screw all this fixer-uppering and we've already done the David Korushing until we can't David Koresh no more.
For real.
Yeah.
Well, we need to retell the Lake Waco murder story, because unless you grew up in this area, you don't know that story. And it's, I mean, yes, super tragic, but
What you're saying is we need another big murder spree instead of going back to the same stuff.
My time has come.
No, I'm saying we need to make a movie. We need to serial podcast that.
Yes.
We need to trademark us.
Down. I'm so down.
And we talk about these Lake Waco murders because it is insane.
We draw it out just like Sarah Koenig does on Serial.
Yeah.
Just completely.
All right.
Okay, that's our new idea. Sorry, next week, not the weekly yak. We're
And if
going to
someone
be
else
Lake
takes
Waco
it,
murders.
Expect a lawsuit.
Yeah,
You will
bitch.
hear from
It
our
has
lawyers.
happened. That's why I said trademark. I can just copyright that right here vocally.
Back to
Because that's how it works, right?
exactly.
Sorry, back to you. I'm sorry.
Back to my week, because it's about me. Got really quiet. I went
We
shopping
just let
for
him
drags.
think. We just let him think what he
I
wants.
went shopping for drag stuff for the first time today
Yes,
because
queen.
we're doing drags to start Rocky, and
It's next month.
June
June 1st,
1st.
so it's coming up.
Whoa.
Spinda.
3 weeks.
Where is it again? I'm sorry. You've told me a bunch of times.
It's at the TMC Listening Lounge
On Columbus
on
Avenue.
Columbus Avenue and 25th.
It's for listening. It's a lounge for listening.
No, it's
Sure.
a live concert venue, like recording a small venue.
But it's
Anyway.
okay.
But it's going to be great. And I found some really cool outfits at the thrift store that I'm super excited. And some really... no, for real. I was like, this shit is amazing. I totally see why no biological woman would wear it from day to day and why it is here. But now it is in my closet and I'm so excited.
So it's in the closet?
While you're
So,
out in the closet.
So something had to take my place 15 years ago. But
You left a big hole to fill in there. Hole to fill.
Oh, he can fill those holes.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
But I also, for the first time in my life, bought a push-up bra.
Oh,
So I can,
my little girl's growing up.
And I took a picture and sent it to my mom. And I said, am I the prettiest daughter? She's just like, Jesus fucking Christ, Michael. But I'm so excited that I finally
Good Lord.
grew into my B cup.
I wish your mom wasn't like okay with that. That would be the best story if she was just like, Like you were torturing her with it, like because she was, like she didn't, like she was upset that you were gay, and then you send her that.
Could you imagine?
That'd be the best.
Just send it to my grandpa.
Yeah,
see how well that goes.
he's like, I thought he was a boy.
Get a bra that says like Trump 2020.
Oh,
they'd be okay. They'd be okay with that.
He'd have mixed feelings.
If you were a trans that was pro Trump, if you were Caitlyn Jenner, they would like it. Because remember, she's like,
yeah, we remember. Let's not bring it up.
Sorry.
I just sighed. That's my answer.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway,
all right.
I love my push-up bra.
How about jokes?
Oh,
should I even do these? Because I don't know. Now you're a professional.
I mean, you've got to. You've got to.
You preprepared material. I'm proud. I like it.
Yeah, but you're gonna shit all over it. So
well, if it does, it suck.
Bring up the news music.
Well, I don't know now that
you played the intro.
At least I write it. According to police, a woman was arrested after she repeatedly tried to enter CIA headquarters asking to speak to Agent Penis. That's not even the joke part. That's the real part. That's the actual news. Yeah.
Okay.
CIA agents were unsure how to respond to this, as this was the first time a woman was trying to penetrate an entrance where she didn't belong.
Oh.
Hey, it made me laugh.
All right.
Laughing was my natural response, so good job.
Okay.
Whether
I'm glad.
Intentional or
I know. I don't care what the intent was, if that was forced or
Continue.
A Mongolian couple died from the bubonic plague after eating a raw rodent's kidney for, quote, good health. In defense of the couple, they did choose the kidney since at the time the only other option was a Mongolian Arby's.
Ooh.
Take that, Arby's. They're not a sponsor anymore.
But here's the thing.
Great.
It wasn't that the joke, my face, as soon as you said that, I was just like, like I couldn't even make a noise. I was too mortified by that story.
The actual real part?
Yeah.
The rodent? I don't know why that's considered good health. It's a rodent. It's not like a unicorn's kidney or whatever.
That's true.
I mean, I can understand if it was
unicorn's kidney.
Yeah. I'm sure it's like cream filled or.
I would drink that unicorn blood like Baltimore.
Covered in sprinkles.
Yeah. Do you guys know what TikTok is?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like the Vine ripoff kind of.
Okay, yeah. Where there's like looped videos and short ones. I had to look it up. I saw this story and then I didn't. But anyway, on TikTok, there's currently a trend of filling a Crocs shoe with shaving cream and then jamming your foot in it.
Yeah.
Because it's very satisfying, I guess, when it's like pimple popping without,
But
This trend replaces the old one of just never buying Crocs ever.
do you know, I saw
God's honest
they've
truth.
made Croc fanny packs. And
geez.
so it's like Crocs, but on the back little strap part, there's like a little pocket for you to put, and it looks like a fanny pack. So you put your ID.
It's a
ID
fanny
and
pack
cash.
for your Croc shoes?
Like it's the Crocs are made and the back strap of the Croc they call them Crocs fanny packs, and you can literally put some cash and your ideas.
And your ideas.
Your hopes and dreams.
Your
Kristen Wiig.
Your crush dreams that'll never happen if you're wearing Croc fanny pack. So
gross, but they're
One
real.
of those.
yeah, right. In a disgusting way, not actually really wanting to know. It's like in
Crocs are gross.
disbelief that you. McDonald's recently announced that it is joining the meatless burger trend. When reached for comment, current McDonald's employees reacted, "We used to use meat?"
It's so true. I thought they always were.
I know. When did they start?
They were soy burgers for the longest.
I think they were made of sawdust or something.
I mean, I'm not complaining. I've always loved McDonald's. Sorry about it. I still
You
Well, no, I never
love
said. I
meat.
didn't say it was gross. I mean, I didn't say it was gross. I just said I don't
that
think
was
it's meat.
low hanging fruit.
Yeah, like your balls.
There you go.
All right, and lastly, students at a Rhode Island school district who owe money on their lunch accounts will have the sole option of a sunflower butter and jelly sandwich until they're able to pay their lunch money balances. This is so dumb. This does beat the school meal option for not paying what you owe in Mongolia, a raw rodent's kidney.
Look at that callback. That's
Right.
called a
It's called
callback.
a-
Good job.
In
I'm
the
so
business,
proud.
that's
In the
called a
biz.
callback. Yeah.
In the
so,
biz.
You, buddy.
yeah. So.
Jokes.
That was
Right.
good.
Oh, well, thank you.
Good job.
I wrote those like all day today. Actually, I did it. This is the last.
That's what you did
The
while
best
your
of
kids
those
are taking the
jokes.
STAR test.
Yep, I wrote comedy. So,
I'm so proud.
well, thanks. Because you're like a comedian now.
No, I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I'm an intern.
Yeah. Well, see, I can help you out. No, I can't. So we're going to take a break, and you got lady bits?
Oh, I got lady bits.
When we come back, Randy's got celebrity. I just put
Celebrity status.
I just put whatever because I didn't know what the hell it was.
Celebrity, whatever.
And yeah, and then I've got.
It's gonna stick one of these days. God damn it!
It's gonna stick.
Hey.
Yeah. And I got a couple actual news stories that I wanted to talk about. So we'll take a break and be right back.
This is the Weekly Yak. Welcome back to the Weekly Yak with Mac.
I don't know. They're trying to connect and love me, I guess, but fuck that.
Mel.
I had like 4 or 5 dudes just like grab my boobs.
And Randy.
The night that we hang out, I will do myself.
It's the Weekly Yak.
I want that to be my ringtone.
Yes,
so
that's
when
what
you
I was
call
just
me, it's like. That's
Sorry.
like
So great.
I didn't make a new one, but I knew that was a classic, an
it's
instant classic.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
yeah.
it's very much an instant classic.
instant class.
It's
You
classic.
can't shorten that. Classic.
Classic.
I did want to do 2 actual news stories before we get to y'all stuff. This is Teacher Appreciation Week this
Yeah.
week, so appreciate your teachers, past and present. But a couple, I mean, it makes teachers look bad on this, but I don't understand why people still keep making this mistake. But I mean, especially teachers, it seems like they know better. But
What the hell?
From an elementary school in the high desert, showing these teachers holding a noose and laughing has parents outraged.
Well, CBS 2's Dave Lopez is live outside Summerwin Elementary School where the teachers work. And Dave, tell us what this is about.
Well, it is a very big firestorm here. It all happened within the last 24 to 48 hours, and there's been some action. The teachers have been suspended along with the principal. I am told that it was supposed to be a photo that was to be shared only within a few circle of friends.
But why?
It was
Why
never
even
supposed
take a
to
picture
go
of
on
it?
social
Racist
media,
cunts.
but it did, and then came the outcry. The 4 women in this picture have been identified as elementary school teachers at Summerwin School in Palmdale. They are posing while one holds a noose. A second picture shows the noose hanging from a pillar inside the school's offices. And now, the fallout.
What the
You
actual
know the
fuck?
meaning behind it, behind our history, and you know you're going to get backlash for it if it gets out. And it obviously did.
it's hanging like it's a trophy or something.
Smiling, and even if it's a joke, you just don't play like this.
And according
Yeah.
to teachers and parents, the woman on the far left in this photo, smiling with the short blonde hair, is Jennifer Garcia. She was the one who testified at the Gabriel Fernandez trial, testifying that as his first grade teacher, she noticed that the boy was being mistreated at home and contacted the authorities. Gabriel is the 8-year-old boy who died after being tortured. His mother pleaded guilty and is now serving a life sentence. Her boyfriend went to trial, was found guilty, and was given the death penalty. We repeatedly
shit,
tried to
damn.
reach Miss Garcia by phone. No answer. And the district refused to identify by name any of the teachers involved. Your teacher's in the picture.
Yes, sir. She's
Which
actually
one?
holding the noose.
And then he identified her.
I'll give her a name. I mean, eventually she's going to come out. Miss Jones.
Miss Jones.
Yeah.
And when you saw that, had you ever had a problem with Miss Jones?
No, I've heard she actually was a pretty good teacher for 20-some odd years.
Outside the school today, parents, local activists were outraged.
I was infuriated. I was worried that if he's okay and if anything's happening to my son.
It's time to move out of the state, move out of this area.
Wow.
We came to district
damn.
headquarters to get an on-camera comment from anyone.
They
preferably the
came back to work,
superintendent,
too.
but we were told there would be no statements made on camera to us. We did get confirmation that there is an investigation and that the teachers in the picture and the person who took it, allegedly the school principal, are all now placed on administrative
Jeez.
leave.
How
on leave,
fucking
but
stupid.
with pay, pending a complete investigation.
Appalling, it's frustrating, it's beyond words.
Here's what's going to happen.
Just
they're going to give them administrative leave for the end of the year.
Right.
They go on our early
Gotta get
summer.
to start summer early. Yeah.
And then at the beginning of next school year, they're going to say, I'm really sorry. We weren't thinking, blah, blah, blah. We're stupid. And then they're going to keep their jobs. And some parents will leave the school district, but overall it'll wash over because of a stupid action.
Yeah, I don't understand. Even if you just for a second ignore the racial connotations, that's still a noose that people people used to kill themselves. It's not a happy thing under any circumstance to have a noose in your hand.
And, it doesn't make sense. There's no, and I'm sure maybe in their private little thing, there was some kind of joke that goes along with it.
Yeah.
But
you had to be there.
But think for a fucking second, anyone else sees this photo, what are they immediately going to think? I know. Even if it's,
why take a chance?
Even if the inside joke has nothing to do with being racist, which, let's be real, it's four white women holding a noose. Let's be real what that means.
Yeah.
How can it mean anything else?
Exactly.
I don't understand what else it can mean.
And the fact that one teacher had testified about the health and safety of a student who was being tortured and mistreated.
Yeah.
Hello.
Right. What's her deal?
She's a stupid bitch. That's what's her deal.
There you go.
You said it.
Yeah.
Fuck her.
So that's disappointing. And then this one's a little more uplifting. It's kind of
good.
It's kind of sad at first, but it's a little bit it's half and half because it shows how education the teachers need something to change. So this one's in San Francisco.
Now a GoFundMe page exists to help this longtime teacher with a substitute teacher and personal costs.
She's an incredible teacher.
So now a GoFundMe page exists to help this longtime teacher with a substitute teacher and personal costs.
She's an incredible teacher, and that's not fair. That's crazy.
She is a second-grade teacher we've chosen not to identify. Her friends at Glen Park Elementary tell me she suffers from breast cancer, and all the attention is causing her extra stress. That includes this GoFundMe page that has recently stopped accepting donations for her. It was started to help pay for the substitute teachers her paychecks were funding.
It's kind of a slap in the face.
But it's a reality all public school teachers in the state have to pay for. Right now, teachers get 10 sick days per year. Then they can take medical leave for 100 days. During that entire time, the cost of a substitute teacher is taken out of the paycheck. If more time is needed, teachers can take from a catastrophic sick leave bank donated by other teachers for 85 days. No extra money is taken out of that pool.
We'd love to change it, but we're working in a public school system that's been financially on starvation.
It's a hard pill to swallow, especially for those who know this teacher and who work in the school.
She's wonderful. She's a beautiful, lovely, great teacher. She's one of the best teachers, so it's terrible.
It makes me worry, later on, if that were to happen to me, I have to plan accordingly, and that's not fair,
And we contacted the school district. A rep there referred us back to the state law.
That is I saw that and it enraged me.
Yeah.
I mean, this woman has breast cancer and she is fighting for her life. And they're like, oh, fuck it. You got to pay for her. Sorry, you do.
Well, the $13,000 that her GoFundMe page will get her through the end of the year, which is something. But also, she did not sign up for that pool of days where they can donate. She never, and you can only sign up during certain times of the year, so nobody can donate their sick time to her because they won't let her sign up because it's not the right time. So,
well, and now she's got cancer,
right?
As opposed to she got the flu.
Yeah. You think they can make an exception for it's not. Yes, the sniffles.
It just makes me livid.
I mean, everybody here has been an educator at some point or another. Right. And we know for the most part, most school administrators don't give a fuck about you as a teacher. It's how much money can we barely pay you to get by,
right? And
overwork you to deal with these kids that we won't discipline the right way when we need to deal with parents that are so entitled to have their kid treated a special way. And I hate to sound like a fucking baby boomer complaining about kids, but administration doesn't give a fuck about their teachers. They never really do.
Well, and that guy was like, "Oh, from the Teachers Association of California was like, oh, if we could do something." Well, guess what? California is known for having a shit education system and for being financially bankrupt. Basically.
Well, and she lives in San Francisco, the second highest cost of living in the country. Like that's already. I mean, I think they said that the cheaper houses start at like 1.2 million. That's it's. I think it's like 93% higher cost of living than anywhere else. So anyway, so it's Teacher Appreciation Week. So make sure you appreciate your teachers, please. Out there,
unless they're racist pieces of shit.
Well, right. Unless they're holding a noose or whatever, then don't appreciate them.
Sorry, Mac.
What?
Kidding.
Okay. So what do we do? Who wants to go first this time?
It doesn't matter.
Go for it.
I'll do it.
Lady Bits first?
Lady Bits.
All right, here we go. Ready? Brace yourself. Hold on to your tits.
Got him.
Bell's Lady Bits.
All right, I would just...
Was that a gunshot at the end of that?
It's just an explosion.
I didn't notice that before.
Yeah. It's so manly.
Well,
stereotypically manly.
I just have a couple of things to discuss. And one I think is really interesting is my husband has recently decided there were a lot of things that he feels like he didn't give a fair shake, like pop culture wise, like movies and TV shows, because of what he referred to as his toxic masculinity at the time. And so he's like, you know what? I realized I was probably too big of a douche and didn't want to say that I liked this or wouldn't give it a fair shake. So I want to go back and rewatch some TV shows and movies that we've watched before as a, open-minded kind of person. And I'm like, all right, let's do this. So we've been going through the list, and last week we decided to watch the Twilight Saga.
Oh, man.
And I haven't watched those in a while, but it was interesting to watch them back to back to back to back.
Are you Team Edward or Team Jacob?
I really don't care. I mean, she and Jacob would have never worked out.
Are these movies anything like the Twilight Zone?
No.
Okay. All right.
No. And for the longest time, my husband used to refer to Twilight as teenage erotica.
Huh.
Yeah.
Because it was very just like lusty, but in the most chaste of ways.
Yeah. Wasn't the TV vampire show, wasn't that pretty lusty too? Pretty
but that was straight up sexy.
The one on HBO, right? True Blood. True Blood. Wasn't
True
that
Blood was like vampire porn.
Well, but didn't Twilight have vampires and werewolves?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But True Blood was just vampires.
Right.
And werewolves.
Well,
there are werewolves on there too.
Oh my God, there's so many.
Yeah.
All right. I'm out of my element here, so just go.
True Blood just go. Overall was way better.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So anyway, we're watching Twilight, and one thing when I watched them before, I've read all the books, and so I was like, okay, and so I was invested in them once upon a time. But I knew they were shit. It was just like sometimes you got to watch brainless shit. You don't want to think about it. But watching them for the first time in forever, and watching them with my husband with new eyes, I have not realized until watching them all back to back how Mormon they are. Because Stephanie Meyer
is Mormon,
who wrote Twilight series, is a Mormon. And you go through and you look at all of this stuff, and like there's all these different things, like basically Edward won't have sex with Bella until they get married, and then he like won't do dirty sex with her because he's afraid he'll quote unquote break her because he's a vampire. And you're like, no, it's because we don't do dirty stuff. We make babies, and there's like a bunch of little things in there that are very like Mormon.
And like the baby's literally going to kill her.
Yeah.
And they won't abort it.
And won't abort the baby. And then there's a whole like looking at it from a perspective of like Mormons and Christians and all. I mean, and it was like, why didn't I not notice this before? And I think it was because I was so invested in the story, or what little story there was. And I was like, oh, I'm really into this. But watching it now, I'm like, oh my God, this is just like, I mean, might as well, be this, Book of Mormon. So there's that.
Might as well have Donnie and Marie in it.
Yeah, right. The next thing was, so are you guys familiar with the term Mary Sue?
I recently heard this for the first time, and it might have been from you that I hadn't heard it before, but I forgot what it meant now.
So a Mary Sue is a female character who lacks flaws, so there is therefore unrealistic. And they're saying for instance, we're talking about Twilight, basically any of the Cullens would the women Cullens, they're Mary Sues because they don't have any flaws. They're just there's not really anyone out there. Well, without being too spoilery, a couple weeks ago on Game of Thrones, there was a big battle, and the lack of a better word, winner of the battle was a female character, not the male character that everyone expected it to be.
Yes.
And it ignited. Okay, well, there were tons of people me and Randy who were like, fuck yes, yeah, oh my God. We were all for it.
Also because it was a huge twist that came out of nowhere and we were screaming, cheering.
We were totally for it. However, there were tons of people that started throwing on the mansplaining and were like, it's not realistic that this young girl could defeat this big unbeatable character. And, oh, she's a woman. She can't do this. And then they start throwing around this term Mary Sue that's apparently used a lot in pop culture about this female character. She doesn't have flaws. Well, I'm not going to, that would make it a Game of Thrones podcast if I turned into why I think that she's
real.
Not Mary Sue.
I agree.
But the whole thing honestly just pissed me off. And I don't just mean about what happened in the TV show, but the fact that so many people had to mansplain a fictional work about how it's wrong that it should have been a man and not a woman to do this is just bullshit, number one. Two, that Mary Sue is a term now in society for, that is a term that we know now because of this. That pisses me off.
Yeah.
And, I don't see those people not getting spoilery again about other shows, but the other big thing that's happened in the past few weeks is Avengers Endgame. And I will say this without being too spoilery. Those women, especially one in particular, kick a lot of ass. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Captain America and Iron Man and Thor, so it's
she's my favorite, I think.
Yeah, but it's just it's just bullshit. And it just frustrates the hell out of me that, even on something that should just be entertainment and pop culture, not you dudes, but dudes have to stick their dick out and be like, oh, look at my dick. It's way better. You don't got one. Look at my extra skin. But it pisses me off that we can't even enjoy TVs and movies because people got to be dickholes.
Well, it's the internet's fault too. They give everyone a voice and stuff. So
they do. And
I mean, I do agree that it's unrealistic. I mean, it's a zombie.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's a lot of reasons why it's unrealistic. Yeah.
I mean,
it's also a movie. So
if you're complaining about something being unrealistic in a show that has dragons and zombies, get fucking bent, you jackasses.
Right. And hello, and we're talking about superheroes.
Yeah, right.
That are fighting.
I know. The real superheroes would never do anything.
This woman's a Mary Sue because blah blah blah, and her powers. Say that again, because she has fucking powers.
Yeah,
she
right
can fly.
there. Yeah.
Shut your fucking mouth.
Hey, guess what, dickhole who's complaining about this? You probably haven't gotten laid ever, and your hand doesn't count. So go enjoy spanking it because no chick's ever going to touch you.
You and your fistful of Jergens lotion.
Why do you have to do that? Why do you have to go there?
No,
it's sensitive because I don't.
Ever
I never
touch you,
I know.
And if
you
you're
go out
gay,
of dry.
What?
Never mind.
I was going to say, and if you're gay, there are gay dudes that aren't going to touch you because that's an asshole thing to say.
There you go.
Lady
well,
bits.
it is an asshole. If it's an asshole thing, maybe they will tell you. Wait,
why do you always have to make the easiest gay joke that's presented to you?
Because it's the low-hanging fruit. It's your balls.
It's your balls.
No, real quick before you go. What is I read something that one of the ladies in one of the comic book movies was saying there's not enough diversity, and now there's a petition to get her replaced by a gay woman of color. I don't know what
this is news to me.
I don't know if it was it was in some movie. She was saying, do you know what I'm talking about or no?
I don't know. I know that's been a constant complaint is there's not been enough diversity and there's not been enough and things. Oh, I know one of the things is Captain Marvel. There's a whole lesbian understory there that, of course, Disney whitewashed because they don't believe in lesbians. And so there are a lot of people
like they don't believe they're real.
That. Yeah, I mean, but Disney does have. Gay days,
do you actually know any lesbians in real life?
Yeah.
Come on, do you?
I do.
Love you, Cassie.
Yeah, right.
We're just gonna call all the lesbians out we know.
Love you, Marina.
Misty.
Yeah. Well, it's not calling them out. It's a good thing. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, we love you, Misty.
I just know the one you mentioned. The one.
Is that the only lesbian you know?
The only one that's I know for sure. I don't ask their sexual preference.
Shout out to my cousin Alicia, who is a lesbian and about to get married to her lovely partner. So shout out lesbians around the world.
What is her name?
Alicia.
Oh, okay. I wish her name was Leslie the lesbian.
Anyway,
moving on to
speaking about low hanging fruit,
celebrities.
Oh wait. You ready? You ready for your thing?
Yes.
Your thing.
All that's left of me is my celebrity.
Adult Top 40 Radio.
I
Here's
feel
Randy.
really good this week on This American Life.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so the two celebrity things that I wanted to talk about this week was the Met Gala.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many people that are listening to this know anything about the Met Gala or pay any attention to it. But the theme this year for the Met Gala, basically, it's just this huge runway fashion event where there's a different theme every year and people dress up in that theme. The theme last year was like religious, and there was a lot of really cool like religious garb that people wore. Chadwick Boseman last year. I always end up feeling really disappointed in a lot of the men that go to these events because they're like too scared to take a risk.
Oh, but not this year. Them bitches stepped up their game.
Some of them. So this year the theme
I just
was
know Kardashian wore a corset.
I don't even, they're like not even on my list.
Oh, sorry.
So this year the theme was camp, which basically means something like over the top and extremely eccentric on this erring towards the side of humor or something that's like so ugly it's funny in a fashionable way.
Oh, camp, like campy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought they were coming like they were going to camp.
Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of people probably
Camp, like
that don't, yeah,
campy, like okay.
And so my biggest disappointments, my top 3 biggest disappointments were Rami Malek, who just played Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Who just wore basically just a plain black tuxedo with like a little bit of a variation. Was not camp. Taron Egerton, who just played Elton John in a biopic.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You are famous for playing these two like pioneers of like performance fashion.
Yeah.
And you wear a black suit to a camp themed runway.
Come on.
Get over yourself. Like, I don't care how straight you are. You just played 2 faggots in movies. You can spruce it up a little bit.
I thought we were getting into Get Over It Again.
Taryn,
that looks like a good movie, though. I saw the previews to the Elton John movie. Yeah, it looks really
he
good.
could have worn any one of those costumes from that damn movie.
Just
and that
steal one of them. Give it back later.
Yeah.
Who cares?
He could have the Dodgers uniform. I mean, the devil outfit.
I
big
personally
puffy
would have
coat.
like gone as Liberace, like with a candelabra,
Yes.
like how, or like maybe with like a fake piano that I'm like torting in front of me.
Yeah,
that's
like it just always hangs in front of you. It's just there.
Exactly.
Like, yeah. That'd be awesome.
And that's camp.
Yeah,
That's, it's over the top.
Liberace's the epitome of camp nowadays.
Yes. Well,
I watched a
once upon
video
a
of
time.
his came up the other day on YouTube, and I forgot his persona is really what lingers. But man, he could freaking play the piano.
Oh,
yeah, he was so talented.
Yeah,
but my biggest disappointment out of all of them, Mama RuPaul Andre Charles
RuPaul.
looked so
boring.
Because for one, it was not So Rue was not in drag. Rue was wearing,
a suit.
Was wearing a suit, a more elevated, like fashionable suit than he would normally wear. It was like a pink and black, almost tiger print.
But it was just something regular.
He wears suits all the time, but this like was proportioned over the top to like maybe be kind of camp. But at the end of the day, it was just an oddly printed suit.
Mm.
And not that Rue has to do drag, but there was no makeup. And Rue just looked like an old man. Which, in his defense, Rue is an old man.
Yeah.
23 hours of the day. I was just very disappointed that RuPaul, the most famous drag queen in history.
Right. He should have shown. He should have been the brightest star at this thing, right?
And spoiler alert, because he sent Nina West home last night, and I'm still mad about it.
I am so mad.
Anyway. But my top 3 were Michael Urie.
Yes.
Because he wore like
great.
It was like a Victor Victoria half suit, half really, really beautiful dress. And the side that was the tuxedo had like female hair and makeup, and the side that was the dress had like his male hair with like a buzz cut and no makeup, which is it was a really, really well done look. My number 2 look was Cardi B.
Ugh.
And I was waiting for that because she wore this huge red thing with this train and a hood that came all the way up to her hairline, and it was beautiful in a camp way. But number 1 that I've heard everybody say the best one was Janelle Monae.
Oh, see, I was thinking Zendaya's Cinderella look.
It was fine. I don't think that's camp.
But she had a fairy godmother with her that turned her dress to lights. And Katy Perry wore a hamburger.
Katy Perry did wear a cheeseburger.
She wore
it was
a
pretty
hamburger.
great. And then
she's always been campy, even before.
Yeah.
Is Janelle Monae? Was she a singer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was also in
So
Hidden
pretty.
Figures.
Oh yeah.
She was the one that was not Taraji P. Henson or Octavia Spencer.
Yes.
She was Janelle Monae.
Yeah.
But do you know what I loved? The outfit I actually loved the most was Lena Waithe's jacket that she wore. She's
I don't remember what she wore.
She's from Master of None, and she normally will go out for this, and she's very very dykey lesbian, to say the nicest way I can say it. But she wore this blazer that was just kind of a blazer, but it was embroidered along the back.
Oh, that was her. Got
that
you.
Said camp was invented by black drag queens.
Black drag queens
and
invented
I was like,
camp.
yeah, like that's you don't have to show. I mean, she just was making that point that that's fine. You can be campy, all you people, but just know that this is the truth, Ruth. And there was,
Nice.
and I had heard, I don't know if that's true. I'd heard that's why RuPaul was kind of, because a lot of them are like, bitch, we've been doing this forever.
Yeah.
That like, why, like, this is kind of feeling like they were being shit on. And I'd heard that. I don't know if that's true.
I mean, yeah.
Shat
Maybe.
upon.
RuPaul didn't call me afterwards and say, hey, Melissa. Anyway.
I'm pulling up the Janelle Monae look for Mac to see.
Everyone get on your info
Awesome.
boxes. And
That's kind of
see.
like a Liechtenstein painting. Do you know what that is?
I heard that word before.
Because it's really, I mean,
Yeah.
that's. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah,
the way
yeah.
the eyes and the
the
dots and stuff. It's all
Yeah.
kind of abstract looking things.
But my other celebrity status update, my OG, I'm a stan since I was 6 years old. Britney Spears. Girl, I just want you to be okay.
We all want her.
I'm doing my best to not pull out my inner Chris Crocker right now.
Leave Britney alone.
Leave Britney alone. Oh yeah, that's the Liechtenstein.
Yeah.
Got you. That
That's
makes
his
sense.
art style. Yeah.
But I love Britney, and Britney's going through a lot right now. And hashtag free Britney. And I hope her old what's his face guy, that her manager that's come out and apparently is like forging emails in her name to try and disparage her, that she's put another restraining order against. I hope he fucks off, because we don't deserve Britney, y'all. We really don't.
Well, she needs to get a better story for her damn musical, because it sounds like a piece of shit.
We're not going to talk about that right now. I'm just saying this is from a stan to one of my idols. Britney, I love you. I hope you pull through this. I believe in you. It's going to be okay, girl.
Please don't crash your car in a lake with your pregnant girlfriend behind it.
I'll do my best.
Please don't do that.
I won't. But that's all for celebrity status.
Very good. I hate to bring. I feel like I have to apologize if I ever want to bring any heterosexuality to it. But Don Felder did play Hotel California at the Met over the weekend on one of the balconies.
Huh.
Do you know who Don Felder is?
I have no idea.
At the Met Gala?
Yeah, well, not at the gala. I mean, it was like it was that week. It was the weekend of. It was during the day or whatever. But he played over one of the balconies. No, he's the guy. Hotel California.
He's one of the Eagles.
Yeah.
No, not Don Felder.
You think Don Henley?
No, Don Felder. They fired Don Felder. No, he's the guy that plays the double neck guitar. Don Henley's the drummer that sings it, but Don Felder, they fired him. He wrote the music.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So if you ever see any of the old Eagles and they play the guy with the double neck guitar, because he's a co-writer, so he can play the music because he wrote it.
Gotcha.
But it was just cool that he was in the Met playing it. He does not a good. I mean, he sang too. Of course, it doesn't sound like Don Henley, but it was still cool because he's going from guitar to guitar. So
gotcha.
Oh, well, now the more you know.
Okay, we're gonna get out of here.
Yeah.
We had a jam-packed show. That was good.
Yeah.
I was gonna show another video, but I didn't want to because it's long enough. But because you talked about
that's what she said.
Yep. You talked about SNL the other couple shows ago, but did you see the Adam Sandler? Did anybody watch the Adam Sandler one?
I've only watched parts of it. I'm going to sit down and watch the whole thing this weekend.
And I've been a vocal hater of Adam Sandler because he has made some shit movies, but man, it went back to the '90s where it was good. Like I mean,
Really?
it wasn't annoying. He sang that Chris Farley song at the end, which is really it's really good.
It was so good on his stand-up special too.
I saw it on that 100% Fresh or whatever it's called. But then he said it was really hard because now he was back in the studio and where they did it. So it's really good. And it was just him being like he wasn't too Adam Sandler-y. Like he was just kind of doing what he did. So anyway, you guys got anything?
Get your tickets now for a Waco Warp double feature June 1st. 7:30 show, 7 o'clock show, and a 10:30 show.
Special appearances by Logan Barry Bush,
Spend a Dreidel, and Serena Salvatore.
Oh yeah.
I thought you were going to say Logan Paul.
Oh, fuck
gross.
that guy.
Fuck him.
We're both like, fuck that guy. But please, Logan Paul, show up if you want to.
Get us publicity. Bro.
Yeah, come on, Brett.
Any publicity is good publicity. I mean, just get the people there and then he can fuck off, right?
Yeah, he can go.
That's it?
That's it.
We good?
That's it.
All right. Did you guys notice I had the Kid Craddock picture now? He's looking over.
What a
This is
guy.
my mentor. Yeah, he didn't even mentor me. He's my wanted. Like I just assume. Like I'm a crazy fan, so I just he's my mentor.
Oh, so you're standing over Kid Craddock?
What?
We'll
Never
tell you
mind.
later.
He's out of the loop.
He's gonna drive his pregnant girlfriend into
I don't know.
Waco.
Is this a Game of Thrones thing?
No.
No, Eminem.
That's Stannis.
Stan, choose don't go, I wonder why.
I guess I don't remember that song.
We'll explain it later.
Right, sorry. Well, guess what, folks? That's the show, and we are out of here.
That was awesome.
Thanks for listening to the Weekly Yak.
No, sir, I didn't like it.
Check us out at Weekly Yak. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Lighthouses rule.
And subscribe to us on iTunes.
Keep looking up, because that's where it all is.